We got a new segment. Can I brag about our show for a second?
I would hope that
we
it's
have
the
a
only
new
one you brag
segment.
about.
Whatever city the Niners are playing, we do trivia of that city. Evan put it together. Dude, we just had a blast. L.A. trivia. He covered it all. Of course, I won. I got the most correct. But, dude, yeah, just look at Steiny. You're going to get moved because of it.
Folded arms.
Wait a minute. Yeah, how does the scoring work?
Wow.
Just a number
I missed the most, I think. You might have been right behind me.
What were some of your favorite questions?
The best question was...
The Golden Girl. Go ahead. Yeah.
Well, the one was... Who this former Ram came up with the first time it was used? Sack.
Yeah. This former Ram. Defensive lineman.
Oh, what's it, Deacon?
Yeah, he got look at this.
It was either him or
time in L.A.
Yeah.
And when did the Rams move to L.A.? When did they come to L.A.?
Which time?
The first time.
Yeah, how about that?
The first time.
Yeah, the first time. They moved to L.A. like, I don't know, 8 or 9 years ago.
68, I think, was my guess. 68.
Clint Clavin is
the answer's 1946.
Yeah, like
wow.
Very, very pre-me.
46.
I have no...
Where did they move
clue.
from? Or from where did they move?
This is why we love them.
Cleveland.
Well, you also might argue that they didn't move to, or did they move to L.A. in 46 because they were in Anaheim, not L.A.
Well, we had a little geography issue with Malibu.
But they were in Anaheim.
Anyway, we love the
Artie
segment,
Moreno
guys.
will try to tell you is L.A., but spoiler alert, it ain't.
No.
Then there was one. Merlin Olsen became an actor on what show?
I got this, Dibs.
Oh, right.
Come on, Dibs, I'm shocked. Willard, I'm shocked.
Was it...
Come on.
Was it Webster?
No, that was Alex Karras. Alex Karras.
I knew one of the big white dudes was on there.
He also punched a horse in Blazing
I want to
Saddles.
say Murder, She Wrote, but I know that's wrong.
Angela, wow.
What is it?
House on the Prairie.
There you go. Man,
you got it.
that's before my time, Bill.
No, not really.
He also was a
syndication sensation.
I also remember him as
That's
a
a buck.
Hallmark spokesman. Remember?
Yeah.
Yeah. Or No, it was Flower. Yeah, I think it was Hallmark Flowers.
It was
like
Flowers.
Yeah.
It was not
But it might not have been
Hallmark.
Yeah, it wasn't.
No, it was FTD.
That's right.
Thank you.
There it is.
That's fine. I'm trying to make up for it. Yeah. Trying to make him come back in. Yeah, my bad.
Play him the Mel Kiper Jr.
That's
sound.
a minute and a half.
Yeah, you're right.
You know,
Did you hear him?
No, we talked about it actually in the
talked
green
about it.
room. And
Your thoughts?
well, I think that he is off his rocker, and I think that he's out of his tree because all you have to do is watch the Niner tape, Mel, and see that Justin Jefferson went 97 yards on the Niners on a deep throw.
Yeah.
And just watch the Saints. And I've had him on my bench for 2 weeks. Rashid Shaheed
Out of nowhere.
with two big
I had him last year.
with that skid.
Well, just summarize real quick, though, what he said. So
He doesn't
people know
like the
what
brand of offensive football. He went back to Daryl LaMonica, all the gunslingers, going deep, basically. And he says
said-
the two high safeties have taken that out. And he also, Steiny brought this up with the parallel of it's like baseball with the shift. And I've never watched football thinking, I don't see the Niners don't throw it deep. I hate that. We'll leave that there. But, they don't do what Sam Darnold did or even try. I mean, you don't got to be prolific at it, but try it. Keep the defense honest.
Kuiper should get Tyreek Hill on his podcast and ask him if he's having a hard time going deep. Because I don't know that I've watched a football game that Tua has been in the last 2 years where Tyreek doesn't have a deep touchdown. That's why everybody grabbed him.
He got the 80-yarder when he got arrested.
Correct.
He did that.
Right, so I don't know if maybe it's a little less prevalent and what the reason is for it. I think it's also a very low percentage play. And we're in an age of analytics in sports where people are studying this stuff. And Al Davis can, he can be from his grave and say, go vertical.
Yeah.
And there are people now who are like, not a good idea.
But I've never watched the game here recently, guys, and said, they're not throwing it downfield. So I didn't notice that.
I mean, that's where this all evolved is, so 2 games through the season, whatever sample size you consider that, like passing's down across the board.
Sure.
And Brock Purdy's thrown for 550, 275 average. He leads the league in yardage. But Evan also threw in there that the air yards, the ball traveling the actual amount in the air is the lowest since they've kept track of the stats since 2006. So from all those things, it would look like the ball's they're not throwing it as long or as frequently as
or maybe
times
catching them.
At least they're 2 games.
Well,
two games.
Catching them too.
2 games.
No, it's
dropping
the attempt. Okay. It's the air yard attempt. It's not even the catch. It's the attempt. And I would say that it's more a byproduct of the preseason becoming irrelevant than it is the 2 deep zone or the 2 deep safeties, because teams aren't doing anything now in the preseason. So games 1 and 2 are glorified preseasons in many ways. And this is where I'm going to affix my attention for week 3 on Brandon Ayuk, because I'm sure you guys saw the report that George Kittle couldn't believe it, out at practice with a hamstring, and so now you don't have Deebo, you don't have Christian, you don't have George.
But I'm done saying that, Dibs, but go ahead.
I think there's plenty of a way that he won't play. Anyway, go ahead, Dibs.
No, I just wonder, as we get to week 3, how much of this attention now goes to Brandon Ayuk, Mr. $30 million a year. It's time for you to move to Missouri, the show me state.
But if they double him, they can take him away if they really want to. Hey, we're going to lose anyway, but he ain't getting his numbers. You can take him away.
Yeah, but that's where Kyle Shanahan and the laminated play sheet, if you're going to double him, someone's going to be open, Jawan, or maybe it's Cowing, or maybe it's going to be Mason for once out of the backfield.
Well, that doesn't sound like what you're asking, though.
No, what I'm asking is, are you ready to step forward and be a $30 million receiver?
And what if the $30 million receiver essentially is a decoy all day because he's getting doubled and somebody else gets the numbers? Will you credit Brandon or not, is I guess what my question would be.
If they win, sure.
Okay,
I won't credit him, but I won't discredit him.
All right. Yeah, like
if he goes out and has 3 catches for 28 yards and they lose, you get discredited because you're making $30 million.
Like lose to me, that's the only thing. One thing I've noticed, and I think that this is the fantasy footballization of what we do on Sundays, and I'm not saying you're doing that here because I don't think you do, but I think that there's too much focus on Monday mornings on who did what instead of instead of what did what. The Niners are a what, the individuals are a who. I don't care who does what. And I watched this happen a lot last year where the Niners would win by 20 and people would come in and go, if Kyle was such a genius, he'd get Kittle involved. I'm like, they won by 20. I don't care who, it's football. If this were basketball, I would have a different take in terms of like, you're that dude and this is a big game and they need you, step up and be that dude. But you're a wide receiver. That is dependent on so many other things happening for you to end up with the ball. I don't care who gets the ball.
I just told
win the game.
Real quick, I told Steiny yesterday, maybe I'm old Calvin's growing up. I said, when did we start not looking at they and he's got to do I said it to him like, what happened to they? Now I understand it's pressure and different things for different people, but it's they. It ain't Brandon Ayuk.
Of course it's they, but look at week 2 against Minnesota.
Right.
It was they, and they lost, but who do we look at as the who as the reason why they lost?
The defense?
Yeah, we went after everybody.
Yeah.
Right.
Went after everybody.
Special teams?
I thought.
Sure, you didn't look at Fred.
No, not Fred and Jordan Mason.
I mean, Fred's a who.
Gotcha.
Yeah, but
Jordan Mason's a who.
Well, no, but that's
so if Ayuk goes out and has 11 catches for $148 and 2 touchdowns and they lose, it's not a who, it's a they.
Yeah.
And that's my point of all this.
So you'd be cool. You'd be cool with Ayuk if the numbers are there, but they don't win.
If his performance is there, then he doesn't. I will not come for him. If they lose 24-21 and the defense gives up another third down performance like they did in this game where you can't get off the field and Bosa's the only guy who has any impact defensively, and you lose a game, but Ayuk is amazing and it looks like he's back, he does not get criticized on Monday.
Yeah, no, that's fine. But I'm also not like going to spend a whole lot of time like, well, it's great that Brandon Ayuk was good. Who cares? If you lost 24-21, it's just like Fred. Fred was amazing, but he didn't even win Defensive Player of the Week. He didn't even win.
Who did? Because they lost.
Because they lost.
Right. And there's interesting sound, and I hope that the guys grabbed it from Fred Warner talking about what happened on that peanut punch when he was able to come all the way across the field and punch the ball out at the goal line. And I shared it from Coach Yak, and he picked it up from someone else. But Fred Warner told a great story about that play, how he was covering Trent Sherfield, former teammate.
Yep.
And Trent's like, run with me, Fred, run with me. And Fred's running with him, and Fred's like, to himself, like, why is this guy saying run with me? And then he looks across the field and he sees that Aaron Jones is running with the ball. So he breaks away from Sherfield, runs over, and pow!
And he's
punches
coming
the ball
towards Jones, though.
Exactly, because he was on the other side of the field. And Trent Sherfield, former teammate's like, hey, Fred, how you been? I missed you. Run with me, Fred. And Fred's kind of running with him, like having a moment. And then Fred kind of peeps over and is like,
that's
oh my.
pretty cool.
It's very cool. And for Fred to like realize that in the moment and dart over and pop that ball out. And he's like, yeah, unfortunately, Isaac Yadam, had a knee in the playing field. Otherwise, it's a touchback and this and that. But Fred's awareness in real time to be catching up with an old friend and then realize at the same time that there's a play that he can still make and to break off from a reunion.
And he made it.
And he made it. It just is incredible.
Vision and instincts. Like if you any great athlete, vision. I mean, what do we talk about with Purdy? You know what I mean? Like sometimes, and Fred, like he looks physically imposing, but not so much so that someone wanted him in the first or second round.
And I'm sorry to do this. I just went Draymond Green.
Yes,
said vision
and instincts.
Have all the
and by the way, to flash back to a conversation that took up part of our show yesterday, this is why I bake in to assessing any sporting team, any team, and the way they draft. I'm going to bake in the fact that you're going to miss on some guys. Because what really makes a great athlete is often stuff that's really hard to know ahead of time. Obviously, if you're the most physically talented, we can take a good guess. Although, how do you feel about the clear number 1 overall pick so far this year?
Wow.
How are his vision and instincts so far? It's only been 2 games. Not going to come down on the kid at all.
He's been battered, man.
Yeah, I'm just saying. Vision and instincts. And the great ones have that, and I don't know how you assess that ahead of time.
My
other than
partner
watching
has
their
them.
tape.
Huh? You have them.
What?
Vision and instinct. That's what makes the show go around. Look at it. He hates me.
He also has early nap time.
No, we have a meeting today, too.
No.
Yeah, Dibs. When everybody gets together.
No. You can't check out until at least 2:01, though. That's in your contract.
Okay. No, if the 49ers win 31-14 and Ayuk has 3 catches for 40 yards, nobody's going to care.
Is that true?
I won't.
I know. Does anybody care? And do we think that everybody else would care?
If they win 31-14 and he has 3 catches and 40 yards, we'll care less.
You can't come for him.
It'll be a subtext.
Right.
You're not going to come for him, but you'll look at it and you'll go, you know what? Brandon still isn't where he should be making $30 million, but you know what? They won.
But Steiny told you he's a career 4.5 catches. That's his career. Like, that's what he'll get you, 4 to 5 catches a game.
My first question is he going to get double teamed?
What? If I'm the defensive coordinator...
He ain't good enough to get double teamed.
Well, he's good enough to get 30 in 76 games.
I mean,
we'll see.
If you're defending a Kyle Shanahan team, I don't think the first thing you're thinking is let's put all of our resources toward one of their receivers.
Even without these two,
I agree.
I don't think that's how you're.
When you're healthy, Willard, you're right. I think now you got to be take number 11 away. What do they got?
Well,
and I'm not saying they don't have anything.
I have a better receiver.
I'd be putting 8 people in the box. I'd be like, Jordan Mason is the one who can beat us. I'm going to make Brock Purdy beat us without his people. That's what if I were the Rams DC, and I'm just a fan. I mean, that's the way I would. If the Niners have a running back who's got 250 yards in 2 games, they're missing Deebo, they're missing Christian, and they're missing Kittle. Good God.
And you could do what the Rams did. Dibs, you pointed it out. They did it and then backed off when he hiked it like we're showing, and then backs off into coverage.
I mean, I want 2nd and 8. That's the most powerful thing I could create if I'm the Rams. 2nd and 8, 3rd and 7. That's what I want. Man. That's what I want.
You're listening to 95.7 The Game, KGMZ FM and HD1 San Francisco. Always live on the free Odyssey app, Twitch and YouTube, powered by First NorCal Credit Union. I mean, I think I bet Brock Purdy right now feels like Jennings is a little more reliable. Just right now, if Ayuk is suffering from not having been at training camp, then maybe he feels more comfortable with Jennings until Ayuk gets back into the fold.
I think what you're bringing up is actually a really interesting question. What do you guys think about this? So let's keep going with that hypothetical of the Niners win by double digits, but Brandon Ayuk doesn't do much statistically. Let's take it even further. What if it is a clear Jordan Mason game? Like Jordan Mason goes for $150 and 2 scores. They win by 10.
Yeah.
Okay? do you actually think, and we can ask this, people, will you be satisfied? Because what we're hearing all week, okay, Brandon, best show. Oh, Brock. Okay, Brock, are you actually worth 60? Everybody wants to see that. What if you win, but you don't see any of that? It looks like a guy. It looks like a Jimmy game. It's a Jimmy game where you're just handing the ball off.
Yep.
Right?
Maybe 2 defensive touchdowns.
Because you got, what? You'll have 14 more games to then bring that back to we're watching you.
I'd like to see him just score. I don't care how. Can he score 3 offensive touchdowns?
I'm with you, but does everyone feel that way? Is that satisfying? 27 to 17.
It has to be satisfying because that's how he coaches. He loves to spread it around. Ideally, he would get everybody involved, and he would have Jennings 5 catches, Kittle 5 catches, Ayuk 5 catches. Mason gets 2 out of the backfield. Juice gets a couple, and he will be used a little bit more because he's the guy who can catch out of the backfield.
Don't you try to praise him in advance. You've been burying him for years.
Willard says,
how dare you?
If that happens and they win, there will still be questions about Ayuk.
I agree.
And I'm going to say this to right on the table real quick before we go. Is
brought to you by?
Atco.
Thank you.
I was like, what company is it?
Yeah.
When Bosa held out, he played the year. But he ended, when it was all said and done, he said he lost that battle. He didn't have his best year because of the holdout. The same thing with Deebo. And all I want to spray like perfume to people is, are we so sure that Brandon's going to win this? Oh, I got my stuff back. I'm ready to go. Because the last 2 admitted when it was all said and done, we'll watch it. They never actually won that battle of being behind and then catching up. There was a cost to their season.
Sure.
So who's to say? And that's why I think people are jumping on the wagon of they don't want this, but I feel like they almost don't want Brandon the ball out.
Well, it creates a pretty discussable deal. And I mean, it's kind of been dogging, I'd argue, Bay Area sports now for a while. Don't forget Blake Snell. Like this idea of I'm ready to go. I'm ready. Here I am. I'm ready. No, you're not. You're not. You're not ready. And your job is to get ready. And it really makes people mad when you make 20 to 30 to 35 million a year and you're not ready for your job, circumstantial or not. And so I'm with, who'd you say, was it text or YouTube? Tarvarius. I'm with you. Maybe the 4 of us in this room may not feel that way. I don't know that.
Right.
But if the Niners win by 10 and Brock throws for 138 yards, and Brandon gets 32 of them, I do not think this fan base is going to feel good.
Not about him.
You might get the win.
You'll feel good about 2-1, but you won't feel good about the Brandon Ayuk part of it, for sure.
Or even the Niners, because you know that whatever they do this weekend, they're going to have to do it again.
And of course, these guys are no walk in the park.
They're not coming back next week either.
And we don't know if George Kittle's going to play this weekend with the latest news today that he was sidelined with a hamstring at practice. So for me, going into it, all eyes on Brandon Ayuk, and if he has a quiet game and they win, well, he's lucky because he gets not a full pass, but he gets a half a pass. Man. If he has a bad game and they lose, well, then get your pitchfork and your torches ready because people will be coming for him.
Because it's kind of happening now. Go ahead. They're coming now.
Yeah, we got a meeting. But
I love it.
All right, gents. Why don't you have a great show? We're 4/5 of the way through the week, and
wow, this is one of the clunkiest departures.
Should I just storm out?
I've taken off on planes in storms that have been smoother than this.
All right. On 95.7, the game.